Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yup, was it original? Ooh.
Okay, babe.
It's your... Quit trying to steal my shine, bro. Quit trying to steal my flow of shine, man.
Okay.
It's your boy DJ Nuki, your girl.
Sierra Nicole.
We back on the channel with another
Kid and C original.
Welcome back to the channel, man. We got a good one for y'all today. Hey, after that last American video, y'all been flooding us. So we got another one. I would like to hear from foreign perspectives on this one. Because the title of it is, how can you tell someone is American without them telling you? So this really for foreign people. You know what I'm saying? Like the foreigners. Yeah. Because to be real, in America, we can tell when somebody's not from here. We just don't know where you're from. But trust me, we could be able to tell and be like, they ain't from America. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So chime in the comment section. I would love to hear what y'all say.
Please believe they're not scared to let you know how they feel. Okay.
But with that being said, man, before we get into it, make sure you check out the links in the description box down below. You already know where to go, man. If you want to further support, all you got to do is check it out down below. Also, every single time we got a salute to the comment of the day.
Salute to you.
We highly appreciate y'all, man. Keep running us up. Also, if you enjoyed today's video, like it with a thumbs up. We'll highly appreciate that as well, man. Yes, but again, how can you tell someone is an American without them telling you?
Okay.
Let's get it.
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
So I'm American, but I studied abroad in London during college, and we had some orientation to tell us about, what it was like studying abroad. And they said, you have to do things because people will notice that you're American. There are things that Americans do that they don't do in England, like smile at strangers on the sidewalk. And I thought, what kind of psychopath smiles at a stranger on the sidewalk? Why are you even telling me this? Is super weird. Fast forward, I get to London. I'm excited. I go for a walk around my neighborhood, and people keep looking at me weird. I'm like, God, these guys are kind of assholes. And then I realize I'm the psychopath smiling at strangers on the sidewalk.
Can you tell someone is an American?
But to be honest, it's just a sign of gesture of being friendly. And just speaking, to be honest, bruh, it was weird. I was walking down earlier, and I was on the phone with you, dude. This guy just was riding. He just driving in the car. He just said, hey.
But then you do have some places,
especially down south.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, especially down south. But you do have some I guess more up north. I guess
that's what they say.
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah. They're not as friendly, but I bet to do. Well, I do know.
Oh, well, I'm talking about like places like New York, like California. They say they're not as friendly.
But I don't know about So.
I'm just saying those places.
Yeah.
Not a joke.
Yeah. Okay.
That's their country.
No, it's not.
It's just up north, but it's kind of.
Okay, whatever.
People in Ohio, people that are familiar with Ohio. Is Ohio country. I hear it all the time that Ohio is just another country.
I guess it depends on what part.
It's Midwest country.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
American without them telling you they're American.
Well, Americans, or at least the most of them, they can't drive a manual. And it's not just that, but when they find out that anyone in the world can drive one, they look at you like you're totally insane. Now, I don't know about America, but at least in most countries in Europe, you don't get a driver license if you can drive a manual. That's basic stuff for us.
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
So I'm actually American, but I lived overseas for 10 plus years. I've lived in Africa and Europe, and I've been pretty much everywhere. So let me tell you how I can tell if you're an American tourist or not. One of the biggest definers is how you dress. Any man I see that's wearing cargo shorts, I immediately know is American. Also, footwear tends to be a pretty big identifier. American sneakers are pretty ugly, and lots of people don't really wear sandals overseas. Also, depending on where you are, your height can be a huge identifier. I lived in the Netherlands for 4 years, and the Dutch are a very tall people. So anyone that was 6 foot or shorter, I could kind of tell. Also, the very obvious one is Americans tend to be louder than other people. You pretty much make it known whether you want to or not, because Americans have such loud voices. Also, at least in Europe, Americans tend to dress more for comfort than style. Almost 100% of my fashion sense nowadays is because I lived in Europe. Europeans dress up just to go to the grocery store.
For you. How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
Extremely white and functional trainers or sneakers and baseball caps.
How can you tell someone...
No. I want to hear about
Go ahead.
black people, though. Because both of those stories, I was just like, it was the cargo pants for me. I'm like...
And the shirt. Bruh.
And the
shoes. And them socks.
I'm like,
Like,
yeah, that's somebody daddy, bro.
an American without them telling you they're...
America!
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
I was serving a table of Americans once, and they were driving down from Dublin on a motorway, and they asked us why there was a castle in the middle of the motorway and why we didn't just knock it down to put the motorway through it. The thousands-year-old castle, sure.
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
I can answer this question. I live in Paris currently, and I noticed that us Americans are very loud and excitable. So if you're like in the public touristy areas and especially on the metro and see a very loud group of people, 9 times out of 10, they're Americans. My current theory on why that is because Americans have a bigger personal space bubble than Europeans, so we have to like yell to get the point across. Also, I don't know if this is exclusively Americans, but we wear a lot of graphic tees with branding on it, and we always get hot and take our coats off, and for some reason, the French never get hot. It could be 75 degrees, and they will wear coats and scarves, and I don't know what witchcraft that is. It must be blood magic, because, like, they're fine. They're not breaking a sweat, and those, like, mark us as great targets for grifters and scam artists.
The graphic tees part, hey, to be real, we only really wear graphic tees for real, on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Every
you don't
day,
have to explain that.
everyday life, you might catch us in a graphic tee here and there, but most of the time, this is just a simple shirt. But just to fill y'all in, we don't, the graphic tee. But the crazy thing is, most people who ask us about our graphic tees be overseas people. I don't know, maybe just they think it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
Usually it's the clothing. It's either you can see them wearing brands that are not readily available here in Germany or in Europe, or it's a certain style, like an athleisure wear that's just not very common here. Like even to go to the supermarket, people will still throw in a pair of jeans and a sweater, even if it's their messiest look. They'll still kind of put together, whereas you'll see someone literally shopping in their slippers.
So y'all don't get the pajama look with the scars. You know the look I'm talking about?
Yeah,
when people go, you be like, bro, y'all really came out the house? This is my Walmart fit.
I'm like, no.
Bruh, we done seen some crazy.
I don't even think is that even like a...
That probably is an American thing, though.
For me, that's just...
I done seen it from all, like...
Yeah, that's just... Don't do that.
Like, at least, like me, I just like to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, because you're going to the grocery store. Like, the thing is, in America, the reason why a lot of people just, like, really don't care about dressing up is because it's
I'm not going to say don't care, because it's not everyone.
Not everyone, but a lot of people look at it like this.
And it's a comfort thing. It's a comfort thing. It's just like...
And I ain't going there to impress nobody. I'm just picking up my groceries and going home. I don't know. Maybe it's a pretty...
And you know that person's an American. People here tend to, kind of dress up even to go shopping. Also, volume. Okay. And I myself can be heard from at least 200 feet away when I speak. Yeah.
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
So little story time. So I used to be a waiter at a 4-star hotel near a Formula One circuit, and like every so often, because of the circuit, we had loads of people come in from different countries, so Japan, America, Canada, all that sort of stuff. Had some Americans come in and sit on my table. Their food was included, but their drinks were not, so they were paying for their drinks. I could tell they were American/Canadian. I couldn't tell by the full accent, but I could tell they were American as soon as they tipped, because they tipped a considerable amount compared to their actual bill price, and it was quite a bit of a shock on the actual tipping culture in America.
Question for you.
That's something different. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
I guess, so is he saying like they tilt
more
like
well, you remember one video we did, and I believe one of the girls had brought up that tipping wherever she was from, I can't remember, but
they don't really make a lot on tips.
Well, no, it wasn't even that. Well, yeah, it was kind of like you didn't have to. It wasn't like a thing that was like necessary.
And
like, over here,
it's
kind of like
tip.
Yeah, it's kind of like a thing like you have to tip. Like this is how these, this is how people, it's like. Yeah,
I'm gonna say a lot of servers, especially people who work in the restaurant industry, they like to make people feel bad for not tipping. Me, I've been there and I worked in the industry for years.
Yeah.
Me, I'll say it's not a requirement to tip.
Like nothing
because to be honest, it's about you as a server. You shouldn't go into no table working and expect a tip.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I went in. And I was like, I'm going to work for my money. Yeah. Because that's what you're doing. You're working for your money. So me, like, I used to see people. I got good at where I could see people. I'm like, all right, this is what I expect. But I'm finna try to boost more money out of your pocket. So I try to go and sell. So I'm like, all right, I know I can get 5 off of them off rip if I do the bare minimum. So let me get a 10. So I looked at it as like a hustling, gambling game.
Well, yeah, I get that. I'm not just talking about like individually though. I'm just talking about like as a whole. It's kind of like been instilled like you have to.
And it's really been like over the like past 10, 15 years, folks try to be on social media. If you don't chill, don't go out to eat.
Yeah, like stuff like that.
But that's not a technical requirement. I made $2.
Yeah.
But technically you don't, because if your money, you actually make minimum wage anyway. I ain't want to get on that.
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
Is Hitler still your president?
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
If I ask them where they're from and they start to reply with percentages, they're American. If I tell them I'm Italian and they say they're Italian too because their great-grandpa was an immigrant, they're American. If they say stuff along the lines, oh, I have pizza every Saturday night, so we are the same, they're American. If they start to speak in like a mafia boss accent like the ones from the movies, they're American. If they say, I went to Europe once, they're American. Because they're the only ones who don't know Europe is not just one country. If they don't understand the time on my phone, they're American.
How can
And the percentage thing kind of threw me off at first because she said when they started talking percentage. But I was like, what you mean? Because when people be like, well, I'm on such and such this and such. I'm like, now it clicked in my head.
you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
Oh my god, here we go. Obnoxiously loud in public transportation. Will talk slowly to you even though you speak perfect English. Always wearing their collared sweatshirts and a baseball cap.
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
Now that is indeed a good question because as a European and a Dane, we kind of figure it out quite easily. Here are some of the following statements or comments that I've got or heard. Hej, hvad kan jeg gøre for dig i dag? I'm sorry, I don't speak German. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were a tourist. What can I get for you today? Oh my god, like your accent, Oh my god, your accent. I cannot believe that you guys in Denmark are so nice because I thought you were all communists, like the Russians. Excuse me, hey? Yeah, what can I get for you? Would you please translate that on the board because I don't understand that? Sure thing, it says cappuccino. But that is not a Danish coffee, like, I want a Danish coffee. You mean filterkaffe? Yeah, that one. That is the Danish coffee, right?
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
I wanted to tell a story to answer this question. I used to work at a National Historic Site, and we get a lot of visitors from all over the world. And since this is Canada, whenever you'd interact with a visitor, you'd say hello, bonjour, giving them the choice to speak English or French. Anyway, this guy comes in, and he's got a cowboy hat on, a buttoned-up shirt that's tucked into his jeans, he has leather boots, and to top it all off, his belt has American dollar bills printed on it. So me and my coworkers did our thing. We said, oh, hello, bonjour. And instead of just saying hi and continuing on with things, he stopped in his tracks, looked at us, and said, "We don't speak that funny language." Didn't clarify which language he was talking about, but I think it was French. So yeah, that's how I could tell he was American.
You tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American.
One of the things I learned when I did my study abroad in Ireland is that the way you can tell American is American without having to hear them speak or anything is right here. Tennis shoes. Typically, white tennis shoes. I don't own any white tennis shoes, but only Americans will wear tennis shoes nonstop. Most people in Europe wear like Doc Martens or like a dress shoe that's still really comfortable. But tennis shoes, when they're not at the actual gym, nope. You stand out as an American.
Because, we be watching like shoe releases and stuff like that. It's hard to get in a sneaker game. But you know how we always be looking like, why do they have like so many Jordan releases over in Europe Europe countries? Because we always see folks with like, hey, this is the picture I got from somebody overseas. And it's like Jordan sitting on the wall. And it's just like, bro, that's not their culture. So why the fuck y'all keep pushing? Bring that shit to America. Like, bro, we be wanting the Jays to just sit. They literally sit over there. We like, bro, we can't even get them. But they sit over in European countries and other.
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
They ask you some stupid questions. Like, why is everything closed on Sunday in Germany? Or why do you call soccer football? Or even, why is your coffee so yellow and sparkling?
This coffee?
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
Everything. Absolutely everything. Like their face. Do you know what I mean? How are you? Shut up!
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
It's actually kind of weird because we can spot you from the distance, and I'm not joking. Like, you have this aura, this glow, you glow American. American tourists are usually very loud, very excited, and in a party mode, and very outgoing. I'm from Germany, so most of the time American tourists are very drunk because you always want to try the German beer, which is great. These are all great things, but German people are usually, I'm not, but German people are usually very down to earth, like low-key, in their own little bubble, don't want to talk to strangers mode, and you're like, I want to be in your bubble, let me in your bubble, which is great, but it can be annoying. But I like American tourists, like especially on pub crawls, drinking beers with them. It's very awesome meeting them, talking to them. Americans are at the Oktoberfest. Who are not?
What is the weirdest?
But you know the crazy thing though,
Oh,
well, you go.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I was gonna say everything that she like described the German down to earth, don't like to talk to strangers. It's me. I don't like to be like, oh.
Well, what I was gonna say was, the craziest thing is, Americans, even when they tour in America, they the same goddamn way, bruh. They like try to. You're like, say for instance, when people come from out of like, let me say this. Say for instance, like when I first went to the college I went to, right? People didn't think I was from Tennessee. Yeah. So they used to ask me, where you from? I used to be like, bro, I'm from Tennessee. I'm from a small ass country ass town from Tennessee. They'd be like, no way. Bro.
Where did they think you were from?
Motherfucker, some people thought I was from California. I don't understand why. Some people thought I was from the Midwest. Because when I was working, and, I say pop. We say pop. And I was like, they were like, I was telling somebody, I was like, I wasn't feeling well today. They was like, well, maybe you should. I said, well, I don't really want no pop today. It was like, pop? I was like, yeah. Where are you from? like that is so cool that you say pop. I'm like the western part of Tennessee, like just from a country small town. I'm not hit.
Yeah.
That's all it is, bro.
And you know one thing that I do want to know, like all these people that they met that were Americans, I want to know like who are they and
basically
what they look like, and are they
white
or black?
White, black, like what?
Like,
what's
like,
their
white,
nationality? Like not nationality, but race. What's their race? Because I can see what y'all saying.
Like I just want to know, like I mean, we are loud to the look. I'm loud now,
but I wonder how are Black Americans overseas opposed to white American overseas? Is there a difference?
Or were some of I just want to know.
But
like,
I'm
I would
sure
like
y'all
to
can
know,
still
like,
tell that we're
Yeah,
American.
I'm
But what is
pretty
the
sure,
difference between like white Americans and Black Americans? Even I even want to know how can even like in Asia, how can Asian people tell the difference between an Asian American coming to visit? You know?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like
I used to watch this like a YouTube show. Well, it wasn't these I cannot remember their name, but they had a channel like that, and some of them were actually like they still stayed there, and then you had some that were born here or whatever, and they just used to talk about like the differences and like what's the same and like just different things.
But no, what I mean is like how can they tell like that they're like
that's what I'm saying.
If they go here, they be like, oh yeah, we know you're a tourist.
Yeah,
we know, even though you look like might be like a Chinese person going to a Chinese, but they're a Chinese American.
Yeah.
And they be like, well, you look like us, but we can 100% tell that you are not.
Yeah.
Like even a Nigerian-born American going to Nigeria, how can they, But hey, let us know some things in the comment section down below. Let us know thoughts and opinions. If somebody can answer some questions for us. I got a lot of questions, but as always, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ Nikki. This is we are. Yeah.
Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my folks. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my